Welcome back to the Kingsway Podcast. Hey, we're back.
What is
We've missed you. We've missed you. Thanks for tuning in. I know that a lot has probably happened. It's the holiday season, so it's COVID season, but it's also the holiday season.
COVID is a holiday, I think. I don't even know what that means. I just
year of COVID. No, you're not wrong though. Like I feel like this has been in some ways a vacation from reality.
A forced vacation.
Yeah,
a forced vacation from reality. It's
maybe it's the new reality. That's everyone's like, it's the new normal. I'm like, I'm sure like things were different after World War I and after World War II and after Spanish flu and after the Great Depression. It lasted for 10 years.
Yeah.
We always like mention it and we're like, maybe it's like a year long or something. Nah, decade. So I'm not trying to say that's what we're going through. I'm just saying like maybe this year's, it's just a start. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's over. Well, I know we haven't been on for a while, and I appreciate you guys tuning in, checking it back out. We're hoping to do a couple weeks here in a row. We had a reason, though, that we didn't meet.
Yeah.
Mr. Jed over here, you won the contest.
I did. I got the prize.
You got the COVIDs. And, luckily, let's be real, you didn't have any severe symptoms.
I didn't. It was just like being pushed into a room and said, you're not allowed to enjoy food or drink.
So you lost your sense of smell?
Yeah. And taste. And I still don't have it back. And it's the biggest bummer.
Which I know that some people get some really severe symptoms. So we're not trying to make light of that. I'm just,
no doubt.
But you for sure, like that has been the overarching thing that I've heard from people that have gotten it.
Yeah.
It's like sense of taste.
Yeah. It was kind of funny. Like I wasn't able to taste anything for like 4 days before I got tested. And every single time I mentioned it to somebody, they were just like, "Oh, you're getting tested? Like you just have it." They were right, but I still got tested.
No, it's smart. It's smart to get tested though too, because I think there's a part of me that just like confirms in your own head. It also gives you like a time for whatever quarantine.
Yeah, and it's like my best bud, Gage Smith, was getting married that weekend as well, and so it was like, well, it is the tiniest chance that I don't have it. But I have to know.
But you have to know. And part of that was because you were worried that maybe if you didn't have it, maybe there was a chance you were going to try to crash the wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, in whatever way.
It was a bummer. I was supposed to be a groomsman. And
dude, my heart broke for you when we talked because I knew that you guys had been living together. You've been around each other. You're anticipating this to kind of celebrate with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it was like
it was like the end of our time living in that house together as well. And so it was like
before he got married.
Yeah, before
he met his destiny.
Oh geez.
We didn't even have to tell him why that's a joke. But no, you're right. Like I think there's a part of me that when I called you and you said like I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to go to the wedding, I was like, because I was just disappointed for you that all that build up. I knew that that was kind of a special day. And but I feel like that is the perfect way to sum up 2020.
Yeah, no doubt.
I feel like that has happened to me so many times, and I don't want to be the toddler that just complains that I don't get to do the fun things. Yeah. But I feel like that's like every time I get up to something, I'm like the kid that like stood in line all year and then didn't get to ride the roller coaster. Yeah. Or like didn't get to do the thing that I wanted to do, or was told that it broke like before we got there.
Joke. All the build up, none of
the well, and then you're like watching other people do it. Yeah. Some get hurt trying, and like, you're like, I don't know, is it worth it? Like, I don't know. And it's that whole like, you remember the Yes Man where like they measure like risk and they're like in charge to decide whether or not, and then it's just like, whatever, I'm gonna say yes to everything. And like, I feel like that's what we're all on the edge of.
Yeah, no,
we're just whatever.
We're all ready to just go for it.
Which is the most unhealthy, like immature thing. Like I feel like I literally do feel like my child most of the time right now. We're like, they're like, why can't we have candy for breakfast? And you're like,
that's a great question.
That's a great question, and I have lots of answers to that, but I see why you would want it, And this COVID season, I think, if we're being honest, we weren't ready for it. We didn't have anything to kind of put it in our filter. We didn't have anything to kind of go like, oh, this is what it's like. Yeah. And then it really became so politicized, which I know we've talked about that before. It's like, I was listening to someone talk about it last night where it's like, this is the first time you just need to like remove all that stuff and just be like, you want your family to be healthy, right? Like if it was even the common cold, you would do certain things. And this is that type of thing where you're like, this is all the more reason to like understand how to be healthy. What does that look like for you and your family? That was a new filter for me.
Yeah.
I really didn't do that, at such a drastic level, and it's been an interesting ride. Well, I know because you were sick, we missed a couple weeks.
Yeah.
The first time all year that we've actually, I think, missed 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And that was a little sad to me, but also like I felt like I was like, dang, we pushed hard.
Yeah, we did.
In some of this.
Yeah.
And it's been fun. I actually ran into someone just the other day, not even someone from our church. That was just a friend of a friend. It was actually a friend of my sister.
Yeah.
That was watching our podcast.
That's
so
cool.
They were loving it. And I was just like,
sweet.
Like, you know what I mean? And so I know that we have people that are watching different states, probably all family related.
Yeah, probably.
Or, whatever.
I'm not mad at it.
I love you, Mom. And, but, it is fun to know that we have a little bit of an audience and I feel like a community of people that are kind of built around these loving to learn and learning to do it. And, I think, as our discussions have kind of revolved around Bible, they've revolved around even an election. I know we did one a couple weeks ago too. Themes, early on we did suffering and pain and suffering, and we've gone through a lot of different things. We've done some silly ones. Made you talk about sports. You made me try to talk about music, and we did our best. We talked about movies. It really has been a fun. Yeah, that's true. It really has been a fun year. And I actually was thinking about our movie podcast the other day because you can go and find that if you want to, if you've not watched our top 10 movies. Good. That's a really good one.
I'm into it.
I was listening to someone make the case for why Interstellar is Christopher Nolan's best movie. And I was like, I don't think Jed and I would agree on that.
No.
Like,
I love Interstellar. And I know I'm even saying that a little bit in a minority, but it's not his best.
It's not his best.
It's not his best.
Would you say Inception is his best?
Inception or The Prestige?
The Prestige is, I know that's your black horse or like your dark horse. Like that's the one you're like, not everybody's gonna think that this is the best, but it's
genius. It's just
it's a genius. Good. It's a genius movie, and it was. I think if I remember, I looked up the release time. I cannot remember, but there was something it was competing with. It was like it wasn't. It didn't get a normal Christopher Nolan release where like the build up was like this massive.
Well,
thing.
yeah, that's before he you have. Everything before The Dark Knight in 2008.
Yep.
He wasn't known yet. He didn't have at this point. He kind of gets his like studios are just like, you want to make a movie about a talking dog and I don't know. Here's some money. Go for it. He just has that credibility, but he didn't have it when he was making The Prestige, so it wouldn't have gotten that build up or that.
I know this may blow your mind, but I really like Tenet.
I haven't seen Tenet yet.
See, and I know you haven't, and that's where I'm like, I want you to see it, it's one of those like you need to see it in IMAX and you need to give it to Christopher Nolan, but even the guy that Tenet wasn't released when he was saying this, and so in my mind I'm like, I feel like he's getting better, which most directors, I think they kind of have like a moment where like they go and then they turn the corner.
I don't know that. I don't know, because I think he at least I think he's reached a plateau and hasn't really dipped below a certain quality level in like a decade.
Tenet definitely doesn't dip. It doesn't dip, and in fact, I would say it's a really original, creative way to do things, which is it's very like Matrix-esque, where it's like a fun way to see the world and a cool thing that they've created. And I was just thinking of that, and I immediately went, "Oh, our podcast, we would love to argue about that." And here we have.
And I haven't
so
even
we
seen
just
it
took we just took a tangent that's beautiful. So I guess here's kind of one of the things I want to do. I don't know why I'm holding my arms like this. I feel like if you're watching a weird video right now, I don't know what to do with my hands. I want to just take a second and say, like, all right, we're coming down to the end of the year, and we got a little bit of time here. So I know we're going to have a couple more podcasts probably that release before the end of the year, but like, what are you taking away from this year? Like, what are you, because you've been on a journey, like personally, this has been a crazy year for you. And that's not even COVID related.
Yeah.
Me, like ministry wise, this has been, I like 10 years worth of ministry. Like, I feel like I've had to learn and grow and change and be just flexible. And I don't know. I'm just trying to think, like, what, maybe the viewer, maybe you're listening and you're watching on the YouTube channel. Like, what are you taking away from this year? Like, what are you learning? Like, and try to be positive, because I think that's the thing. We always want to walk away with negatives, but negatives we impress people with strengths, we learn or relate through weakness. I think that's a thing that we can use as a tool, but like, man, lessons that we learn are most of the time learned through mistakes, and they have to have kind of a turn the corner moment. I mean, as a nation, maybe we've learned some things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we haven't. But as an individual, like I loved being around my family as much as I did. I loved slowing things down. Like it's something I think I will crave on a different level. And whenever people talk about the new normal, I wonder what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
For me with my kids, because being around them as much as I am and like not having them be as busy and all over the place and doing and going and I found a different level of contentment in that, if that makes sense. And that was something that I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I wanted it. And I didn't know it was something that would have such a deep impact on even the way I view our relationship and our conversations and what I look forward to every day in the small places. And a lot of times it's not even like deep, like philosophical, like father son conversation. It's more just like we can have them in passing because we have time.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's definitely one of the things I've been thinking about a lot. I don't know. When I ask that question, when you start thinking about the year, like what comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think flexibility is something that we've all been learning. I think it's really easy to apply that in like the church context, whether you're, a church member or a church staff member or leader.
Yeah.
Kind of on a week to week basis, kind of being like, well, are we having church this week?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Yes. So I think just putting that out there, I think flexibility is a pretty like universal thing, and obviously not just in the church, but in your own jobs and in your own,
well, how you do life, where you go, what you do. I agree.
Yeah. How I think, I mean, I don't know that I can bring anything new to the conversation. I think I agree with you. Like relationships have just been something that have been put under microscopes, and like, I think, in really intimate relationships as well as kind of really surface level relationships and stuff, and you kind of just crave that intimacy a little bit more, and you want to know that people are there for you, and you want to know, like, you want people to know that you're there for them, and like, I think that's kind of been the thing that's been brought to the forefront a lot in a lot of people's lives, is just like intimacy in relationships and like that community and stuff is something that we were made to live in, and we've learned what it feels like to crave it at a deeper level.
No, and I think that's one of the things that I've been feeling the most over the last month or so, is like, especially going into the holiday season, of just like, COVID has taken away so many opportunities and things that we want to do or hope to do.
Yeah.
And then you go into this holiday season and you start going like, okay, what are we going to be able to do? What is safe to do? What should we do? What shouldn't we do? Who's going to be there? How long? Are we wearing masks? Are we doing it outside? Are we doing it inside? Are we letting grandma come? Are we not? Like, are we traveling? Are we not? And I think there's been a lot of frustration in the sense of like, it's a buildup from this whole year, but I also feel like I've dealt with it better because of the year. You know what I mean? Like, you get to those questions and you're like, nah, this is kind of how it's going to be for a little while.
True,
and I think you're watching everybody try to do the best they can. You're watching everybody kind of make some decisions that sometimes you're like, holy cow, I would never have done it that way.
Yeah.
And other times you're like, wow, that seems really cautious. I don't know if I do all of that.
Yeah. But at the same time, you can appreciate that caution more than you've ever been able to before.
And I think we're going to do it on a later podcast, so be watching. But I really want to talk about how have you seen Jesus in this year? And I think that's actually going to be one of the things we're going to do over the next couple of weeks, because I think knowing how broad and crazy this year has been, like, what has been the thing that has revealed Jesus the most. And so check out that. I don't want to have that discussion necessarily right now, but I think that's a valuable question to just say, like, not just about like your personal opinions or your personal political side of things, your personal family thing, your health, but like, how has Jesus navigated this? I think that's been a really difficult question for this year
Yeah.
and where that looks at. Obviously this week, I think we can all agree that we're kind of getting back into the swing of things as a podcast. We didn't want to make it like a full, crazy thing, but I wanted to do a quick Devo here at the end to kind of give you a launching point. We're starting a new series called Christmas Fruit.
Okay.
And it's all based on John 15 and this idea of abiding, and that's where the fruit comes from.
Yeah.
But then we attach it to, Galatians chapter 5, verse 22, where it's the fruits of the Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
But the fun thing, and this is something that John Coward pointed out that's actually preaching this week here at Kingsway, but he uses the singular word for fruit,
mm-hmm.
but then lists a bunch of them. So the concept is like they're a package deal. It's like
Yeah.
a pomegranate, they're all in this fruit.
Yeah.
This idea of like they have this components, but they're all pieces of it. They're like an orange. They have these capsules inside, but they're all included in what the fruit of the Spirit is. So you can't take one without having them all.
Yeah.
And so what we've been using as the main illustration is this Christmas tree idea. And so it's the idea that you are not a dead thing that puts ornaments to look pretty on, like the fruits, but you are a living thing that produces the full package of what the gospel is.
Mm-hmm.
So abiding in Jesus looks like the fruits of the Spirit,
mm-hmm.
a package deal in your life, not being hung on you at times to do when it's convenient or when it's easy, but actually living and working through you. And I think that has been probably the number one thing that I've been working on over the last month especially, is just going, this is not something that I just go, all right, I got to be patient right now.
Yeah.
This is something that I should be going, I need to be growing in my patience all times. I need to be growing in my forbearance. I love that word, forbearance. That's in the new NIV. That's a tolerance. It is patience. It is selflessness. It's like this cool little word that we don't really have a word for, like forbearance. I've never used that in the state. I've never
really?
been like,
come on.
Never. I've been like, oh, that's how forbearance of you. Like, I just don't even know how to use it in a sentence. But it has this like beautiful tone of like understanding that people sitting across from you do not have the same view, and you are able to be with them. And like that in my mind is like man, we need a lot more of that.
Yeah.
We need a lot more of that right now. I need a lot more of that. And that's something that has to grow in me. It can't be hung on me and told, just to look pretty. So this whole series, that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of those themes, some of those fruits, and we're going to try to produce those. We're going to try to have those come out of us because it's a singular package. And I think, moving forward, wherever you're at in your life, I hope that if you're trusting in Jesus, that you realize that, the fruits of the Spirit or abiding in Jesus is not meant to be something that makes you feel like, even though you're dead inside, that makes you feel like you're doing something that's valuable, like decorating yourself.
Yeah.
But you're actually letting him do from the roots up, from the ground up, attaching yourself, being, kind of branched in as we are as the Gentiles, grafted in, that we're producing good fruit.
Yeah.
This year has been an incredible opportunity for that.
Yeah.
It really has. And we kind of see the people around us, I think, at times that are working on this in a deep way, that are struggling, that you're like, you are dead inside. Like you can see it and they're hurting and they're trying really hard, but you can just tell it's not something that's in them right now.
Yeah. And
I've been there. I've been trying to abide more and more, but I think we all have to work on that to a deeper level. So yeah, I don't know. I guess that's the Devo side of me, is like, hey, don't be a dead, decorated tree. Yeah. Be a living display of Christ and the fruit that comes with that. So, wherever you're at in your life, and if you're listening today, I just challenge you to go read that Galatians chapter 5, verse 22, and read those fruits, and then just say, hey, am I a display of these things? Is this a part of who I am, or is this something I'm trying to be without connecting it to Jesus? Because I think it's easy to try to put those on without recognizing the Spirit that needs to bring them through Jesus. So, well, this has been good. Jed, I'm glad you made it through the COVID.
I survived.
You don't have your taste back.
No,
we'll
get there.
Terrible.
I hope.
And I'm sorry. Well, I hope that our listeners, I hope that you're taking the needed precautions that you need to, and you're not being shamed in any way
Yeah.
for whatever choices you're making. I hope we're all asking the question, what does it mean to love our neighbor and to love them well when we're doing that, and to love them like Jesus would. And, moving forward, I hope that this holiday season is fruitful and it's exciting, and that God moves through you and me, and I hope through you too. Let's continue to learn and give each other the grace to do that as well. And let's keep loving like Jesus and searching for full life, because that's what's worth it. So thanks for listening to our ramblings today,
Yeah.
kind of a catch-up episode after being gone, and look forward to getting to talk to you next week. Any other thoughts, Jed? Any final?
Be excellent to each other.
Yeah.
Party on, dudes.
Party on, bros. Hey, you guys have a great and glorious day in the Lord. See you later.